Radical Radio Collective.
Good afternoon, listeners. You are tuned into 4ZZZ 102.1 FM on this fiercely independent eco radio, Australia's long-running peace and environment radio show. Dave?
Yeah, 100%.
Yep. Okay, so we're taking over your middle of the day in your middle of the month-ish.
Yep.
And
middle-ish.
Middle-ish and middle of your week. I'm Andy, and my pronouns are he, him.
My name's Dave, my pronouns are he, him.
And I want to start off by acknowledging and paying my respects to the custodians of the country on which we broadcast. We are located in the city of Madjigen on Turrbal, Yagara and Yurupul land. I also want to acknowledge and pay my respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are listening in today. Our radio waves reach Kabi Kabi and Inabara country in the north, Waka Waka country in the west. In the east, we pay our respects to the Quandamooka people, and down south, we reach the Common-Berry, the Ngarlgwal, the Mananjali, the Wadjarabara, Yungabara, and Bunjalung countries. There is no Crown land. Thank you for No Idea for another wonderful show. Did you hear about the Barbie doll measurements?
No, go for the Barbie doll measurements. What was that?
So there has been some research looking at the dimensions of some of the more recent Barbie dolls that have been released. So I think there was a Barbie curvy, a Barbie tall. They also measured Malibu. Oh, look, and we're getting the Barbie shown to us from next door. Excellent. And Malibu Ken, but I think I'm a bit more of an Aussie Ken in that probably my waist measurements are probably a bit larger than the standard Malibu Ken. How about you, Dave? Yep.
Yeah, I think, is there a potato Ken out there? I think that's what I'm close to.
Could be. So today on the show, we are talking with Rebecca Appleton, who works as an educator and rescuer with Bat Conservation and Rescue Queensland. We're going to be talking about bats and an upcoming fundraiser for Bat Conservation and Rescue Queensland happening at Archer Brewing tomorrow night, I believe. And if you weren't aware, we're in the middle of Radiothon. This is the halfway point, I believe.
Yep. Absolutely.
So, please, if you feel like subscribing in the next hour, we would love it if you do.
We're going to play a young magpie call.
Yep.
For every subscriber, there's a little magpie call. It sounds like this.
So when the sub light's flashing, you'll hear that sound pop up.
Yeah. So big thanks to everyone in advance with a little magpie call there.
4ZZZ has been fiercely independent since 1975. 50 years on and we're still mainly funded by subscribers. If you want 4ZZZ to remain fiercely independent, then subscribe at 4ZZZ.org.au/support.
Yes, and please support 4ZZZ in our Radiothon. So we just heard from the fantastic New Zealand Bats, the New Zealand band,
the New Zealand Bats, the Bats.
New Zealand band, the Bats, North by North.
Interesting name for a New Zealand band because they are the only mammals in New Zealand. Or were the only mammals in New Zealand before the introduction of possums and things like that.
And a really weird bat as well, because it was mostly like a ground-dwelling thing as well.
Was it really?
Yeah, there's no competition with other mammals.
So it didn't have to be arboreal.
It would scurry around on the ground. So,
Oh, that is weird. Do you know if it's still around?
Oh, I'm not sure. I think rats probably had a big impact on things over there. But yeah, New Zealand, fascinating place. Okay, so
we are talking about bats?
We are talking about bats, and we have Rebecca Appleton, who works as an educator and rescuer with Bat Conservation and Rescue Queensland. So thanks for joining us, Beck, and welcome.
Thank you for having me. As mentioned, my name's Beck. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm here to talk to you about a few different things.
Yeah, but first, I'm really excited about this. You're in between rescues at the moment, so you've taken time out from rescuing to come in and talk to us, and you've brought in 3 microbats.
Yes, unfortunately, I couldn't quite get home with them before I was due here, so they're tucked away in a little box, waiting to go home.
Yeah, very special guests in here for Radiothon this year, because we did talk to you. Maybe it was 2023 3 for the radiothon.
It was a while ago. I've got the poster in my bat room, actually.
It's a very good poster. That one was done by George Levy, the Adventurous Ears. And we talked to you because, who has better hearing than a bat? Turns out a lot of things.
They're pretty good, though.
They are pretty good. I mean, the micro bats are obviously better than the fruit bats, right?
Well, they've got the assistance of echolocation, so I suppose they have a very different type of ears.
Yeah. So thank you for bringing them in, even though it wasn't planned. I really appreciate it. There we go. There's a passionate subscriber. Oh, my God. There's a passionate subscriber for you, Beck, and for the bats. So can you tell us, I'm sure it's probably in the name, but what is Bat Conservation and Rescue Queensland? How long has it been going for?
So the organisation itself was formed in 2007. There were other bat rescues and things happening at that time, but BCRQ was formed then. We're a not-for-profit. We do 24/7 free rescue. So we're not a relocation service. We are this animal needs help. We will come and help. We can also provide some advice as well if you're unsure, but generally any bat that's by itself in the daytime needs help. So we come out, we have a look, we assess whether it does need help. Usually it does. So we rescue them, take them in, find out what's wrong with them. We work with the RSPCA. We've got some wonderful members who are vets. We sometimes work with the zoo. So if they need veterinary treatment, we get them veterinary treatment. Sometimes it's just orphans, and we hand raise the orphans because they are milk dependent. They're a placental mammal, so if they're little, they can't fly, they can't feed themselves, so we take them in, we give them bottles, all that sort of stuff.
If they're little for their species, not just the small microbats.
Yes, if by little I mean young.
Yeah.
So they are dependent on milk, and like the flying foxes will sort of start to fly anywhere between 10 to 12 weeks, but it's not being able to fly to look after themselves. They very much need time to develop that skill. So we just give them as much time as they need, and when they're ready for release, we give them their second chance at life. So orphans are big business for us, and by business I mean we earn no money for it, but we spend a lot of time on it. And then we also do the adults as well, and then we have a microbat wing. We certainly do a lot more flying foxes than microbats, though.
So if someone finds a bat, what should they do? I know there's I've worked with some bat ecologists, and they have to have all sorts of vaccinations and the Hendra virus and things like this.
Yes, so please do not touch it, would be my first request. We have trained and vaccinated rescuers to come out and do that for you. And if you happen to call us and you're not in our catchment area, we will put you on to the right person. Our contact number is 0488 228 134. That is a 24/7 hotline.
And your catchment area is quite big. It goes all the way to Toowoomba.
Actually, we kind of go all the way out to Chinchilla, and we have people all the way up through Gladstone, and we go down to Logan. We have been sort of expanding a little bit.
Yeah, right.
And it's better to call us than, for example, the RSPCA, because their hotline is not 24/7, and they usually refer rescues to us anyway. So you will save yourself a bit of a hold, because obviously they're covering huge area and all the different species, whereas we are just
specifically bats.
Yeah, so we do ask people, you're better off calling us. It will save you time. The bat will get help faster. If we need the RSPCA to help us, which sometimes we do, depending on what's happening, we can call them and take that off your hands. So as the person ringing them in, you no longer have to sit on hold and organise all of that. We take that on.
Yeah, and because you are specific, you also have specific, species-specific, you have specific ways to rehabilitate the bats.
Yes.
So bats obviously fly, and you need to retrain them or help them.
Yeah, they need time in a big enough cage where
a
they
battery, if you will. Or what do you call it? It's not an aviary.
We call them flight cages, I guess, generally. I'll be honest, we sort of say aviary because people understand what that means, but a bat aviary is very different to a bird one. They need to hang from the ceiling, not sit on perches, so you need to have a very strong ceiling there for them all to hang off. But generally we'll call them a flight cage when they're that size, and they need to rebuild that muscle. You know, animals, for example, we have the paralysis syndrome that occurs in flying foxes. Those animals are down for a long time, so they need quite a while to rebuild their strength, their muscle, their body condition and their flight capabilities.
Can you tell us a bit about the paralysis syndrome?
Well, there's still a group working on figuring out what is actually causing it. It's been notoriously difficult to nail down what's happening, but what we know from our side is that some years you see a trickle of animals. 2 years ago it was absolute chaos and there was whole colonies going down. It was really, really heavy year. We saw a lot more females affected, which meant that their pups also had to come in and be hand raised because the females weren't capable of doing that and also surviving themselves. So it can be very unpredictable, generally comes after wet weather.
Right.
So this particular season, we're a little bit more worried about a heat stress event than we are paralysis. But what we have learned is you never know what's coming.
Yes.
Until it hits. And last year we were surprised by several hail situations that resulted in mass casualties and big rescue efforts. And we didn't see that coming. That wasn't on our bingo card, as you say. We were sort of looking at things like paralysis and heat and stuff like that, and then hail came out of nowhere. So it is exciting in some regards to be an animal rescuer if you thrive on sort of complicated challenges and problem solving and these sort of responding to unplanned incidents. We do plan as much as we can. So for heat, you know, we have plans in place for that, but there are always other things that crop up. So for those of us who enjoy a challenge, as much as the side of it where the animals were very, very compromised and it was not a good situation for them, where we come in is saving as many as we can and trying to reduce the impact. And also there's the compassionate side of the animals. Like bats are very resilient animals and they will live for a very long time with catastrophic injuries. So the more of them we can get out. So we did our hail response, I think it was for 9 days or something, and we were still pulling out animals. They were crawling down to drink because they couldn't fly.
Yeah, right.
So they are really resilient, really tough animals. So sometimes it just comes down to the humane side of it, and trying to get them euthanized as quickly as we can because they will never fly.
Yeah.
But we managed to save a lot of babies out of that. So each situation is different, and I guess what our thing is we front up as many people as we can, and we get out there and we save as many of them as we can, and we reduce suffering for everybody else. So
yeah. So one way people can help you out is there's a trivia event happening tomorrow night.
Yes, there is at Archer Brewing in Wilston on Newmarket Road. So 6:30 to 8:30 tomorrow night. We are almost sold out of tickets, but we have also, as well as the trivia, there's some silent auction things there as well. As you can imagine, it is not cheap to feed and house animals and give them enough time to recuperate. So, we do receive the odd bit of grant funding from council grants and state grants, but for the most part, we are self-funded. We do have a lovely relationship with Lone Pine, for example, who does contribute some of their cash for containers money to us. So we do have a few different funding sources, but mostly we're funded from people overseas doing personal donations as well.
Really?
Wow.
You're not brought up to dislike flying foxes in places that don't have them, so they're a lot more able to look at a flying fox on its merits and go, wow, that's an amazing animal with an amazing ecological role and also extremely cute and intelligent and all the rest of it, without that bias that you often find in Australia. I'd have to say inner city Brisbane has a lot of bat enthusiasts.
That's great.
It is really wonderful here. A lot of the times when we do rescues, we meet wonderful people who really love bats. There's a lot of places that love them, but there is still a lot of stigma. And
I've talked about this maybe a few months ago, and Australia, we just seem to have this aversion to native animals. We just see them as a nuisance. The possum on the roof, the bat pooping on your car. It's just like all of this is a nuisance to us. But I love that we've got these huge flying foxes, in our suburbs.
Yeah, we're incredibly lucky.
In our city.
Southeast Queensland is rich in flying foxes. It's a part of the world that has a lot of them. And I feel privileged to look up in the sky at night and see them. You're just talking about New Zealand. I visited there earlier this year and I struggled to cope at night because it was too quiet.
Yeah.
I'd look up and the sky was empty, and I'm used to owls calling and flying foxes and possums running around, and it was really strange to me to have such a quiet night time.
Yeah, well, I'm enjoying it at the moment. There must be some ukes in flower near our house, and can hear the squawking of the flying foxes at night. And I think it's awesome. Like, I've also got some curlews and hear them calling, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah. And we have the famous amongst people who know it, Southeast Queensland flowering in winter. And that brings a lot of animals into town, particularly the grey-headeds from down south. Okay. So my local colony gets a lot bigger in winter, and they go back to other places before birthing starts in your September, October timeframes. But we do get an influx at this time of year, and if you do look up around you the last few months, the flowering has just been really intense.
I can honestly say that sitting up at Youngler, at the Youngler Inn, right up on the Scarp, at when the flying fox colony take off, it's just amazing to see how many animals are taking to flight and heading off for the night, and something to behold.
It's beautiful to see.
All right, well, we'll be back talking to Beck after this. We're going to go to a song. It is Radiothon. Please go to 4zzz.org.au/support to keep these conversations on the air, because, we all love our bats and the environment around us.
Did you know that it costs almost $90 to create 1 hour of radio? Make sure 4ZZZ remains fiercely independent by supporting us during Radiothon. Subscribe at 4ZZZ.org.au/support.
Yes, please subscribe, especially in Radiothon, when you can go in to get numerous prizes for yourselves, even for referring a friend as well. You can win prizes. So. Yeah,
a big thank you to Zachariah that subscribed. We'll send you one young magpie call.
Okay. There you go.
There you are. That's for Zachariah. It is Radiothon. There are so many wonderful things to be a part of here at 4ZZZ, and the only way you can become a volunteer is if you subscribe. And if you subscribe within this 2 weeks or this week, you will be going the running to win a fabulous set of prizes. Everything from groceries to work boots. We've got arcade machines.
There's a year's worth of beer.
Beer from Blind Boy Brewing. There's so much to go for. Is that going to be yours, Andy, the year of beer?
A friend of mine did win the year of beer, so yes, I think I'll have to put that down.
Okay. I think mine is going to be the groceries. I think in this economy, groceries are definitely one for the prizes.
Maybe slightly more important than beer. I'll give you that one. So we're joined today with Beck from the Bat Conservation and Rescue Queensland. So thank you for coming in today, Beck, and having a chat to us. Now, I have been seeing a fair bit of photographs about the destruction that's happening in Victoria Park at the moment. And one of a few things came to mind when I saw these photos was the lack of any wildlife spotters when they're knocking down these big mature trees, which probably have bark decorticating off the trees where microbats get underneath, and hollows, of course.
Beck, you were saying that you rescued 400 bats
Hey, no.
Was it 40 bats?
No, I didn't give you a number.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. I've rescued bats from Victoria Park back when it was still a golf course during a starvation event. So we had a lot of very skinny bats, quite a few dead. So it's a place I'm familiar with from a rescue perspective, and it is also right near my favourite colony. That's my happy place when I'm stressed. Go and watch them a few blocks away as well. So it's an important feed place for flying foxes. And as you mentioned, eucalypt hollows can be places that microbats are roosting in. On a personal level, I'm very fond of the area and concerned that it didn't look like there were wildlife spotters. There certainly can be bats in those trees. I'm not sure what studies were done to ascertain what species were present in there, but I suspect, having not seen any or heard about any, that they're either not public or they don't exist. But
what can happen if a tree gets demolished? What can happen to the bats in those hollows and in those bark?
I have to assume they're probably chipping what they're pushing down. I'm not sure exactly. I haven't been able to actually watch the footage. I'll say it upsets me too much to really look at what's happening. But generally, if there are bats inside hollows and trees are pushed down, if they can't fly out and escape, then if the tree gets put through a chipper, then the bats get put through the chipper as well.
Yep. Which is, not the brightest of thoughts.
No, there are a lot of threats happening to bats in particular at the moment, or wildlife, our environment in general, especially in southeast Queensland. There's obviously the Ormiston College development, and the threat to endangered koalas there. Also, I imagine that there would be microbats in that forest. Victoria Park, there's a multitude of others, and it's does seem to be getting worse for our native species.
Yeah, it's tricky too, because a lot of the times with this, there's this hidden cost to people that happens when animals are displaced. They no longer have homes. It's all of you volunteer rescuers and carers that are out there rescuing animals that are wandering the streets looking for a new place to live. Caring for animals that are injured. Obviously, if there's no fauna spotter catchers, there won't be a lot of rescue happening on site, but there still will be animals living in that area who don't have enough food to all continue to live in there and things like that. And something has to happen. So they either die quietly and nobody really sees the cost of it, or they come into care and volunteers and volunteer organisations bear the cost of it. And there's an emotional cost to this too. It's distressing for us to see essentially homes being knocked down like that, and knowing intimately, how amazing our wildlife is, and how, obviously we're very attached to wildlife. That's why we're volunteering to do what we do.
Yeah.
But the emotional toll of watching all this destruction is high, and then you've got the financial toll, even just petrol going to and from these places to rescue animals, or taking them to their vet appointments, or any of that stuff. I think a lot of that happens in the background and people don't really talk about it. People aren't aware of it. There's always an expectation that if you find injured wildlife, someone's going to come and take it and look after it, and people get upset when they say, I couldn't get a wildlife carer.
Yeah.
I don't think people realise, I don't leave my house for months of the year for more than an hour or two at a time to go to a vet appointment, because I have so many animals at home. It reaches a point where you can't safely take any more. And so the more stress that gets put on habitat, the more animals that are in trouble. They're out on the roads getting hit by cars, things like that.
Yeah. So we are promoting the Bat Bonanza trivia night tomorrow, but also you would like more rescuers, more carers, more
definitely
help.
I have to say I chose bats deliberately. I sat down and I thought, I want to rescue something. I want to get involved in wildlife hands-on stuff. What do I want to work with? And it came down to possums and gliders or bats. And I am always a sucker for the persecuted species. So flying foxes was, I guess, the natural choice there. Not that possums don't get a fair amount of persecution, but not quite at the level of a flying fox. So I chose them, and I am really happy that I did. They're amazing to work with. They are a reasonably small animal. Even the big ones are normally under a kilo, so wrestling them into a rescue basket is not as challenging as maybe getting a brush tail out of somewhere.
Yeah. So how do people become rescuers?
So our website is bats.org.au, and we have an information section and a join us section. Generally, also people can call our rescue line and ask for information, and we can talk to people about the ins and outs of it. You do need to be vaccinated to do bat rescue. But
you guys provide all that?
We don't. It is a cost, but we do have a doctor who works with us to keep those costs to an absolute minimum. Right. Unfortunately, other governments pay for their bat rescuers to be vaccinated because it is a public health service that is provided as well. We don't, but we try to keep those costs down as much as we can, and there is currently a study underway where you can potentially get those vaccinations for free. Mm-hmm. So we can give you information on any of that stuff. And then there's also the non-handling things. So we run a 24/7 phone line. Mm-hmm. That is not easy to keep that staffed, particularly when you have carers who also do the phone once they get a lot of animals. So there are definitely roles you can do where you don't actually have to handle bats. So that's another thing that if you're interested.
So like you're living in an apartment, obviously bats would include not being allowed pets. You could do
can sometimes you can sometimes get away with some microbat care in an apartment. But
just hide them in a cup of tea, when the inspection comes around.
No one's going to miss a flying fox, though.
No.
But definitely people in smaller places choose to do microbat care. But, yeah, for sure we can talk to you about what non-handling opportunities there are to get involved.
Yeah, fantastic. We just got a few subscribers. Yes, although we were talking about pretty heavy things. People are like, I like this, subscribed. So here's a couple of, there you go. There's some magpies for you. This is Radiothon. Beck, we've talked before on Radiothon, so this might actually become an ongoing Radiothon thing for us.
Yeah, anytime.
If you want to subscribe and go in the running to win fabulous prizes, you can do for as little as $25 for under 18s or $40 for concessions. You just go to 4zzz.org.au/support put your name in. Andy will probably subscribe during this show at some point.
Yes.
He might take us through how to do it. You're listening to 4ZZZ. This is Eco Radio.
Are you renovating, restocking your classroom craft stash, building a sci-fi film set, looking for an out-of-the-ordinary material to complete your art project? Conveniently located in Wollongabba, Reverse Garbage Queensland is a treasure trove of raw material for every kind of creative. It's like a hardware, craft and office supply store all in one place, at half retail price or less. Add an extra 10% off with a 4ZZZ sub-discount. Everything in-store is industrial discard from around Brisbane, so when you buy something, you're saving it from landfill. Reverse Garbage is a proud 4ZZZ subscriber discount outlet.
And we thank them for it.
We sure do.
Yeah. Andy, we are on Eco Radio. My name is Dave.
We are on Eco Radio, and I'm Andy.
We're here with Beck from Bat Conservation and Rescue Queensland.
And we've had some messages online from non-sub. So you know what that non-sub could do?
Subscribe.
Yes, and then we'll know who your name is. So our non-sub says, Thank you so much for your valuable work, Beck. Working and caring for bats, I personally blame African tulip trees for the paralysis disease. We know that they're killing our native bees, so why not bats?
I can certainly pass that along as a suggestion. I think we've eliminated a lot of of different environmental causes.
Yeah.
Not 100% sure whether that's been looked at or not, so I can certainly pass that along.
Yeah, we're actually getting a lot of congratulations on our SMS text line for you, Beck. There was
That's sweet.
someone saying that I love hearing about the bats.
I love talking about them.
Can you read out some of those, Andy?
And microbats can fly under the radar is another one. And we had a passionate subscriber, Sarah, who says, subscribing for the bats.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
nice.
You.
So give those people a nice magpie call, please, Andy.
There we go.
Fantastic. And Beck, we were talking off air about some of the other hazards or threats to bats, and we were talking about wind farms.
Yes.
I had heard that wind farms can affect bats, and can you tell me how?
Well, basically strike.
Right.
And it's a little bit hard. There's a lot of studies that are done. There's a lot of people working on it. Obviously, collecting the bodies to know exactly how many have been hit is slightly difficult when you've got a lot of predators and things out there. But there's a lot of people doing a lot of work into looking at exactly how big a problem this is. It's certainly not something you couldn't put mitigation in place for.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily that every wind farm will affect bats. This isn't all wind farms are bad sort of thing. There are specific places where bats roost and live that might not be the best place for putting big fan blades.
I think, obviously it's not my area of study, but I'm sure it is largely a problem anywhere, but what you can do is make it less of a problem by choosing your places responsibly. Putting wind farms in ecologically sensitive areas that are full of animals that use the sky is, something that needs to be done with great consideration. And you can also look at how you operate those wind farms. So some legislation around appropriate curtailment of the turbines to reduce the amount of deaths that are happening. Things like that are really important. Obviously,
so that's like slowing the blades, or
there's a number of different mitigations that could be considered, but I think the important thing is it needs to be acknowledged. It needs to be considered by government. In the great rush to say that we're taking strong action on climate change by putting in all these renewables, we don't want to be creating a biodiversity crisis in the background. And unfortunately, having a nuanced discussion around this is difficult, because if you try to talk about some of the issues around it, a lot of people's gut response is that, you're just a fossil fuel shill.
Yeah.
I am completely not pro fossil fuels at all. I'm also not pro killing animals needlessly. And it is quite high numbers of animals, and there are some articles and things written on some of these studies that are publicly available that you can look at that talk about what little impact curtailment potentially has on your production and your profitability compared to the very significant impact it can have on reducing death.
Yeah.
So I think there needs to be a proper conversation about how we run these and where we put them, and where we run the transmission lines, clearing bushland to run lines through when there's cleared land next to it. Just because the bushland site is cheaper, things like that. We need to be having a mature, nuanced discussion around the implementation and the operation of these things to do it in the least impactful way possible.
This is something I want to look into more in depth here on Eco Radio, but there is this gut reaction that any criticism of wind farms or renewable technology is a vote for fossil fuels. But also, we've kicked the can down the road for so long. Climate change, global warming, has been an issue in the mainstream for at least the last 30 years. and we haven't done nearly enough to help. And now we're at the point where renewable energy companies, which are profit-driven companies, are saying, well, we need to do this because we need to get to net zero. It's like we have, for a long time, needed to balance energy and the environment. Yeah. And that just doesn't seem to be in the conversation enough.
Yeah, and I think what you mentioned as well, Beck, is it's almost like the government is playing catch-up all the time, that they don't know. We sort of highlight what the impacts could be, but there's no policy in place to actually implement that down the long term. And so we find out all these studies about, microbats being killed by wind turbines and things like that, and then there is the response from government to finally get some sort of policy in place, and I think with renewables that Australia has been going in pretty fast. That is being a bit of a catch up as well, but.
We have had some wins. There wanted to be the pumped hydro in Youngula National Park. That didn't go ahead because of public pressure. But we also have a lot of losses. We were just talking about Victoria Park, about Ormiston College. It's not for renewables, but it's for the environment. And so,
other countries are trying to replant places and understanding that removing all of these trees is not the right way to go.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think too, if you don't address the issues like microbat mortality, or flying fox also can die from them, if you don't address it and pretend it doesn't exist, then you're giving oxygen to the people who are opposing them for other reasons, like wanting to retain fossil fuels as well. So you're just giving that whole side oxygen to get environmentalists to turn into being anti-renewable.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone is really enjoying this conversation, Beck. We did just get another subscriber. Thank you very much, subscriber. It is Radiothon. We are fiercely independent here. We don't align to fossil fuel companies. We don't align to renewable energy companies. We have the conversations that are necessary to promote the environment and protect bats.
Exactly.
Which is what we're doing today.
And best of luck for tomorrow night with the trivia night.
Thank you.
Yeah, so there's a trivia night for the Bat Bonanza happening at Archer Brewing. What's the kickoff time?
It's 6:30 to 8:30, and the tickets are on Humanitix.
Yep. So get in your search engine and hit Bat Bonanza or Bat Rescue Queensland Trivia, and I'm sure it'll pop up. Thank you to all the subscribers. We are quickly running out of time, but we do have one thing to do.
And what is that?
It goes a little something like this. It's called the Bushcare Roundup.
It's a Bushcare Roundup. They've been pulling out weeds and then they put in trees. It's the Bushcare Roundup.
So, as Beck mentioned, tomorrow night, the 13th, 6:30, it's the Bat Benefit Bonanza and for the Bat Conservation and Rescue Queensland at Archer Brewing, Wilston.
Then kicking off Saturday at 7:30 a.m, you can go to the Stevens Mountain Bushcare Working Bee. That's at Craigs Hill in Greenslopes. So it's a bit of a walk from the road, but it's very nice up there. And at 8 o'clock, you can go to the Ian Page Park Bushcare Working Bee. That's in Carina.
Okay, on Sunday the 16th at 8 o'clock, it's the Friends of White Hills Reserve Bushcare Working Bee at Whites Hill Reserve. At 8:30, the Peach Park Arboretum Working Bee at 179 Matthew Street, Rosewood. At 9 o'clock, it's the Friends of Cedar Bushcare launch event at Red Cedar Park, Diagla National Park. At 10 o'clock, Brisbane West Eco Fest at the Gap State High School, my old alma mater, I should say.
Oh, well, congratulate your old alma mater.
Bex
and Beck.
As well.
Oh, fantastic.
I'll be there.
Oh,
okay.
Well, it's a great, I love the slogan, the Brisbane West Eco Fest. It's very good.
And at 2 o'clock, Tarragindi Reserve Bushcare Group Working Bee at 104 Laura Street, Tarragindi. So thank you all for tuning in this afternoon. And
Did we get any more texts?
I don't know. How do I check that, Dave?
Okay, that's all right. Well, I'm sure we did. Thank you very much, everyone, for texting in. And thank you so much, Beck, for being here and talking to us about bats and rescuing them and the threats that they face.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We're going to hand over the show to Emmy and Soph on the feedback loop. It's a fantastic show. Every show, they start off with a different Smashing Pumpkins song, and I have been trying to guess these in the past, but we've got Andy in the hot seat at the moment, so hopefully he has more luck in guessing the song.
Okay, you ready? Emmy and Soph, my guess is the very obscure version of their Fleetwood Mac song Landslide that the Smashing Pumpkins did.
Okay, no thumbs up.
No.
But it might be a very good one. So what should we do next, Andy?
We're going to go out with the Smallest Horse and their song Falling. But thank you for tuning in to Eco Radio, and thank you, Beck, again, and good luck tomorrow night. And you'll hear us all again next week.
Yeah, we'll be back, and we want to talk more about renewables and how to do that properly.
I better do some research.
Thank you so much for listening in. Beck, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for bringing us microbats. We had a little look at them. They're very cute.
Yes, they are. So thanks, Beck.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Let's do it.
Radical Radio Collective.
4ZZZ.